Bună dimineața și bun găsit la BU. Sunt Sabina Iosub și vă invit să rămâneți alături de mine în următoarea jumătate de oră. Invitatul meu este Frans Timmermans. E vicepreședintele executiv al Comisiei Europene și vine cu mesaje extrem de clare legate de Schengen, de banii pe care ar putea să-i primească fermierii români, dar și ce se întâmplă cu Planul Național de Redresare și Reziliență. Iată discuția mea cu el. Frans Timmermans, good morning and thank you for being with us.
My pleasure.
How is it to be again in Romania?
It's always a pleasure. I mean, I've been coming to this country since 1990, so
exactly.
A long time. Yeah.
I know that you've already met some of the officials of the government of Romania. How were the discussions?
Well, very constructive. There's a lot we need to do. The war in Ukraine is a big burden on all of us, but especially on the frontline states like Romania. And Romania can be extremely proud of everything it has done to support the Ukrainian people. And that comes at an expense, and Romania deserves the solidarity of the rest of Europe in addressing these issues.
Did you discuss about the Syrian crisis and the way that is going the European Union to support those countries that have helped Ukraine, like Romania?
Of course. This is very much the forefront of what we are doing right now. Both President von der Leyen and myself, we are very much focused on this issue. And we want to make sure, and I also want to give my personal guarantee, that Romania will get its fair share of support in facing this crisis. We also need to make sure that the grain that comes out of Ukraine goes to places where it is needed. There are many countries that have grain shortages, and I think it is also the EU's duty to support those countries and to make sure that grain gets there, like places like Egypt and other countries.
So you are adapting the formula for sharing the money to the states?
That is a reasonable assumption. We're working on that. That's in the process right now. All I can say right now, and I want this to be crystal clear, I give you my personal guarantee that Romania will have its fair share.
You are in Romania a non-Schengen country.
Yes, sadly. Romania should have been in Schengen many years ago. The European Commission has been pushing that for many years. I also personally, also when I was a minister in the Dutch government, pushed for it, because Romania has done everything necessary to be a full-fledged member of Schengen, and it should now happen. It should have happened a long time before, and we will keep campaigning for it.
What is actually the solution? Because now one country is opposing, the situation, Austria, and everyone is trying actually to convince Austria that Romania should be part of this Schengen area. What are the real solutions?
Well, the real solution is that we finally move forward with a European asylum policy. Finally show that there is solidarity between member states. The Austrian reaction has, I believe, not that much to do with Romania, but with the fact that they are faced with a lot of migrants, and this is putting a lot of pressure on their political system and their societal system. So we need to make sure that we move forward with our agenda to create pan-European solutions for what is truly a pan-European problem. I think that is the background of this. And I don't think it's fair that Romania should bear the consequences of something that has very little to nothing to do with Schengen or Romania.
The wave of frustration is huge in Romania, about this case.
Well, I share that frustration, so I can fully understand it.
Also, regarding another aspect, is an important debate in our country, and I know that you are aware at the level of the European Commission. I'm referring to the Bustroye channel and what Ukraine have or have not done over there, because it's not clear. What do you actually know at the Commission level about this situation?
Well, you are very precise in saying that it's not clear. That's absolutely right, and we need to clarify it. And that is the role of the European Commission. We are in constant contact with both sides, and we want to make sure that both sides agree on what needs to be done or what can be done, and that we stick to that. There's so much speculation back and forth in the media, or declarations being made by the Ukrainians. we have offered to sit down and bring them closer together. We will be following this, monitoring this very closely. And obviously, Romania, as a member state of the European Union, can count on our solidarity in this issue. And let's remove the misunderstandings and let's find a way that takes into account the interest of both sides. One, of course, is to allow for more shipping, but the other side is also for protecting the interest of Romania in terms of native protection, in terms of the Danube, etc., etc. So I'm confident we can find a way out of this through negotiations, through talks, that is good for both sides.
I've seen a recent post of the PSD leader, Marcel Ciolacu, that said that the coalition assured you regarding the national resilience and recovery plan of Romania. What was the discussion over this subject?
Well, what I said is that Romania has an incredible opportunity because the funds available for Romania are substantial and the challenges Romania faces are also huge. So let's make sure we can spend the money within the time frame that is allotted on projects that are important, infrastructural projects and other projects that are of great importance. This is what I discussed with him, and he told me very clearly that the government is committed to make sure that all conditions will be met so that the third tranche can be paid out. And I am confident that this can actually happen pretty soon.
I know that you are also meeting the President of Romania, Klaus Iohannis, today on another issue, Green Deal, and how this should be implemented in the member states. What is your message? What is your strong message to Romania regarding this subject?
Well, you know, we can only convince people of the Green Deal if they see benefits for them and for their children and grandchildren in the Green Deal. So what we need to do together with the Romanian authorities is to demonstrate how the Green Deal can contribute to lowering energy prices, to creating homes that are more energy efficient and frankly nicer to live in, to help people make other mobility choices that they can afford, to create new jobs in new industries, circular industries, to show that industry can, by greening, become more profitable and more competitive on the world scale. These are the things we need to prove. Too much the discussion today is about the Green Deal is a burden. Well, the Green Deal is a burden, but it's a huge opportunity, especially for countries like Romania.
But it's also difficult to reach all the criteria, taking into account that not all the member states are equal, of course. And for example, in the Romania case, as we've discussed before at Antena 3 CNN, you know that we have dependency on coal mines, for example, and we have discussed at the Commission level about postponing some deadlines, trying to reach the objectives, but in another path, let's say. Nobody was knowing what Russia is gonna do in Ukraine and start this huge war, and of course all that came after the energy crisis and so on. So is anything to be debated, to be negotiated during this time frame in order to help us be there at the level that is requested?
Well, you know, Romania has incredible opportunities in renewable energy. You have a lot of wind and shallow seas where you can have a lot of offshore wind. You have a lot of potential for solar power as well. And you have a lot of industry that could transform its business models when it uses renewable energy rather than coal. So the opportunity is there. What we need to do is speed up the investments. Talking about the coal mining industry, what we need to prove to the coal mining regions is that it's in their interest to transform out of coal into new energy areas, into new jobs. But we have to be able to demonstrate that this transition is just, that we will leave no one behind. Take it from me. I'm a grandson from two coal miners. My grandfathers were very proud coal miners, but they didn't want their children or grandchildren to be coal miners. They wanted better jobs for them because they knew how dangerous the job is and how unhealthy it can be. So you can be a proud coal miner but still wish for something else for your children and grandchildren. And we need to show that the opportunities are there. We need to show that there are cleaner jobs, better paying jobs, but that means a lot of investment, and it means that a lot of solidarity so that we leave no one behind. But we have to demonstrate it on the scale of the regions and the cities where this is happening. We're doing this in Poland, we're doing this in Czechia, we will be doing this in Bulgaria, which is not easy, I can tell you, but we will also do it in Romania, and I'm sure it can be done here, because if you look at the steel industry and other industries, they understand that they have a bright future if they go green.
But not overnight. That's
overnight. No, not overnight. Nobody's asking to do this overnight. At the same time, if you drag your feet, if you take too long, it's going to be very costly. And then people might move away instead of looking for new jobs in the coal mining region. So not overnight, but we don't have forever.
You are looking at Romania and how is my country developing for so many years.
Yes.
What's your opinion about Romania now and how it developed in the recent years?
Well, you know, you could take two approaches. You can take a picture of today, and then you can say, wow, Romania still has a lot of catching up to do to get to the EU average and beyond. But you can also make a film, like I have done, from 1990 until now, and then you say, wow, what have they achieved? I would never, if you had asked me, let's say in 95, you would show me a picture of Romania today, and you would tell me this is Romania in 2023, I would have said, go away, it's impossible. And so now you see, you know, I can understand if you are struggling, if you are worried about the future, if things are not working out the way you would like, that you think, oh my God, we're not good. But if you take a step back and think, this is where my parents were, this is where my grandparents were. Remember the chaos of the early 90s. Remember also the distance from the rest of Europe. Not just the physical distance, but I would say the emotional distance, the economic distance, even the cultural distance. That's gone. That's gone. Romania is an integral part of the EU.
In the end of our discussion, what is your message for the Romanians that are watching you right now?
Well, I would say, you know, yes, there's still a lot to do. And yes, sometimes you feel a bit ignored by the rest of Europe, but don't underestimate your resilience, your power to change things. And if you take a pause, just a couple of minutes, and think back of where you were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, look at what you can achieve. There's so much you can achieve, and never lose hope.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Susținere pentru Schengen vine și din partea liderului popularilor europeni, Manfred Weber. În discuția pe care am purtat-o, o să vedeți ce aprecieri face la adresa României. Manfred Weber, thank you for being in Romania.
Thank you so much for welcoming me.
A not Schengen country.
Yes, you're right, and that's a big pity. And I want to underline that not only Romanians are frustrated, a lot of Europeans are frustrated about this, about the lack of readiness to commit to the promises we gave. And Schengen is one of the biggest promises as Europeans we have, and that's why you can trust in the European People's Party, PNL, here in Romania. We fight a lot. We really want to make it real.
What are actually the solutions in this area? Because Austria is saying no. So what can we do? What the European Union can do?
We have to protect our external border. That's not so much a Romanian question, because together with Bulgaria, that is not the main priority here, but that is the concern of the rest of Europe. And we are sleepwalking currently in another migration crisis. We had, for example, in Italian shores, more than 25,000 migrants arriving in this 3 months of this year. So the numbers are really going up on the illegal migration. And that's why we have to protect borders. We have to stop the smugglers model. We have to make sure that illegal migration is not taking place. And then we can do the next step. And therefore, we need a strength on the external border, and the EPP is ready to do so.
Will you discuss with Nehammer again about this issue?
Absolutely. We have regular talks and calls. It's Nehammer, you know, for the Bulgarian case, it's also Rutte, so the liberal from the Netherlands. So we are in contact, and especially currently Sweden is having the presidency of the European Union. So they are leading the group of home affairs ministers. They are managing things. And they are from my party, from the EPP party, so we are in regular dialogue and contact. I want to assure that we focus very much on Nehammer, the blocking point, but please don't forget 26 member states. The European Parliament is fully in favor, so you have a lot of friends. I want to assure this. I know about the frustration here, but there are a lot of friends in favor, and everybody is doing his best to convince now the rest of the team.
Actually, you've experienced the frustration when you came to Romania, when
Exactly.
you went to Bulgaria. It's extremely complicated.
Yesterday I was in Varna. I was traveling by car then to Bucharest here, and it was really the experience how it was in the past in Europe. And that's why I want to assure Romanians, Bulgarians should be the same level of Europeans like the rest of the Europeans. We have to be together, especially in this moment of history when we see to Ukraine and the big challenges in front of us.
We have another issue here in Romania, and I'm sure you are aware of the Bystroe discussion about what is actually what are actually Ukrainians doing over there without knowing the Romanian part. Somehow the European Union is trying to moderate this situation. What is your opinion on this case?
Well, we are on the side of Ukraine, no doubt about this. They are fighting our fight for democracy and freedom. And everybody who saw the picture of Putin and Xi a week ago in Moscow knows the alternative. Do you want to live in the world of autocrats, or do you want to live in the world of democracies and freedom? And our choice, our option is clear. We want to be in a freedom-based world. That's a basic thing. But then a lot of concrete problems arrive, like the grain and like the agriculture problems now we are facing. And there Europe must help. When we have now a problem for our farmers here in Romania, for example, then Europe must assist. Europe must also compensate the money farmers are losing currently. That is what we are asking for.
Ursula von der Leyen recently said that the European Commission is going to look at the formula. Is it possible to have, I don't know, a political negotiation over this case of farmers, of cereals crisis?
Absolutely. I would demand this. I would ask for this. The Commission must act now. Not only negotiate, I think our farmers need a clear message in this. And the budget is there, so we have money on European level. It's a question of will, it's a question of political will. And let me also underline that having this debate in mind, we already did a lot on national and European level to compensate the impact of the war, about energy costs, for example, and other things, inflation. So state, national, and also European level is doing a lot to compensate things and to make things acceptable for our citizens in these war times we are in. And that's why farmers have the same right to get the compensation.
Is the European Union adapting as quick as possible to the new situation? I'm thinking about the gas crisis, for example, that appeared, of course, after the sanctions that were put for Russia, extremely important sanctions. But when putting on the table the Green Deal, the war, the energy crisis, in Germany, you have had to reopen the coal mines. Are we still on the same track, or is the European Union actually adapting to the new situation?
Well, we are in war times. Again, on European soil, a horrible war takes place. I was a few weeks ago in Bucha. I saw what Putin and the Russian soldiers did there, the war crimes there. And that's why that is the horrible reality. And having this in mind, I would say Europe was capable last year to give proper answers. This 10 sanctions package, unanimously accepted. Even Viktor Orban voted in favor, so unanimously accepted. So we do our job, but you are right, sometimes too little and too less and too late in a way. That is what we face when we see the reality. That's why what I would say is that the war is also a wake-up call for us Europeans to change our rules. For example, on foreign affairs, to overcome the unanimous vote principle. We have to vote by majority, like we do it with legislation on European level, and that works. And we also, I believe, we also have to build up a European defense pillar, you know. Compared with the military perspective, we have to count on our American friends, on the NATO base, that's key, but also to develop a European defense pillar, to do it together. When Germany is now spending 100 billion euros for defense, then we have to put a part of this money also for European defense. That is what we need now, not only national thinking.
So you are putting back on the table the idea of the defense at the European level to create such a military defense.
Look to the investments needed about cyber war, for example, about digital war, or look to a missile defense system for the European Union. I think it makes for everyone clear that a missile defense system only makes sense on European level to protect our border to the external for possible missile attacks together as Europeans. So these kind of investments would be really of benefit. It would be more cost efficient, so for the taxpayers. It would be cheaper for us, and we would be much more competitiveness on global level. We would develop also a defense industry which is capable to the Americans to compete with them. So that is what I want to see, a Europe which stands up together with the American friends, but is capable to defend ourselves.
At the European level, you've created a huge mechanism of resilience and recovery in order to help the member states in the future. In Romania, it was a discussion about how the terms of this mechanism or of this plan may or may not be negotiated. Is it possible to, taking into consideration the war and how, for example, Romania helped Ukraine to modify some of the terms or is unnegotiable?
Well, the Commission is quite reluctant on this currently, so they set the format about the national reform plans, about the Recovery Resilience Fund. I have to say, first of all, that we speak about 750 billion euros. So
huge.
It's a lot of money. Huge. And that is a great message of European solidarity, because Romania is benefiting a lot, Bulgaria, Italy, Spain, so a lot of countries are really benefiting a lot. So that's a great message of European solidarity. We help each other. That is great. And I would say, having now in mind that this was planned with the COVID thinking, we are now in a totally new moment. Nobody was considering about energy price. Nobody was considering about investment in defense when we made these plans. So that's why, having the money on the table, we have to focus also what is now the new challenge in front of us, and that's why let's redraft the national plans. Before we ask for fresh money, let's use the current money in a better way.
Romanians are watching you right now. What's your message for them?
Be proud about your country, be proud about being Europeans, and let's stay together. We only can defend our European way of life together.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Mulțumesc că ați fost alături de mine și în această dimineață. Nu uitați că ne revedem și sâmbătă viitoare la 9:30 la BU. Cu bine și sănătoși să fim!